This is the insider trading saga for the NBA. And the fraud is mind-boggling.
It's been nothing short of madness. Ever since the FBI dropped that shocking bomb about the NBA's gambling scandal, the entire sports world has been spinning.
4 of the 5 families together in a single indictment is extraordinarily rare.
The whispers about possible Mafia connections only made the whole thing feel darker and more dangerous, like something straight out of a crime movie.
Dudes are stupid.
And I'm just ashamed.
Under no circumstances can you fix basketball.
NBA stars are furious, fans are speechless, and the league is in absolute chaos. This might just be the darkest, most scandalous mess basketball has ever seen, shaking its very foundation. The fallout? Completely insane. When the news broke on October 23, 2025, the entire basketball world froze. Players, coaches, even team owners couldn't believe what they were hearing.
Oh, everybody that's at play. And I don't like to sit up here and be hypocritical about certain things. I homeboy gamble, Arnie. Bet it. We've been on teams, we played cards, we played spades, we played top.
Some were heartbroken, others were livid, and a few were flat out terrified of what this meant for the game's future. But the most unforgettable reactions came from TNT's Inside the NBA. 3 legends, Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, and Kenny Smith, turned that night's broadcast into a verbal cage match.
Here they would give us forums on what and what not to do. One of those things where if somebody asks you if a certain player is playing, you say no. So all these guys knew what was at stake. And I'm just ashamed that they put themselves and put their family and put the NBA in this position.
Shaq spoke first, and you could feel the weight in his voice like a man who'd been personally betrayed. He reminded everyone that every single player, coach, and staff member gets a full rundown on the league's gambling policies every year. No excuses. Then he hit the table with that brutal question that echoed across social media.
Making $9 million and you're dealing in certain things, like how much more do you need?
He continued.
Especially if you know you get caught, you can do jail time, lose your career, put a bad image on yourself or your family or on the NBA. I agree with you, Chuck. They dropped the ball.
Why risk everything when you already have everything? Boom. That's when Kenny Smith stepped in, trying to calm the storm. He took a softer approach, saying gambling addiction isn't about greed or logic. It's a sickness that traps people, pushing them into reckless choices they can't control. His tone was empathetic, but the room was already on fire.
The other part is we have to realize gambling is an addiction. So the addiction of it is what makes you make illogical decisions. So not because you make $9 million.
Then came Charles Barkley, and he exploded. His voice thundered through the studio as he snapped back. This ain't about addiction, it's about stupidity and greed. He couldn't wrap his head around anyone throwing away $26 million for what he called pocket change. To Charles, it was pure insanity, plain and simple.
People who are making, as the FBI director said, there was a man who lost $1.8 million. That means he has a lot of money, so he has an addiction to that, those fish that they talk about that they were bringing in. So gambling is an addiction which can make you make illogical decisions regardless of your ethnic background, regardless of your physical background, and regardless of your finance.
Their fiery exchange wasn't just entertaining TV, it exposed a massive divide inside the basketball world. Are these players victims caught in addiction's grip, or are they greedy opportunists who betrayed their sport for a quick payday? The debate has just begun, and nobody's walking away clean from this one.
The reason I'm mad at Kenny is, man, this ain't got nothing to do with damn gambling addiction. This ain't got nothing to do with addiction. These dudes are stupid. Why are they stupid? You, under no circumstances can you fix basketball games. Under no.
Outside the TNT studio, the mood was heavy. The reactions from coaches and players weren't loud, but every word hit deep. Indiana Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle, who also leads the National Basketball Coaches Association, called it a shocking day and a very serious situation.
Bad. Ain't got nothing to do with addiction. That's just total stupidity on these two dudes.
He couldn't help but point out the irony. The arrests came just one day after the NBA held its annual anti-gambling meeting with every team. What are the odds of that happening? Carlisle said he tried to reach out to Billups but got no response, which only added to the tension. Meanwhile, Lakers head coach J.J. Redick, still fresh off his retirement, admitted the scandal was all anyone could talk about. Locker room chatter, team meetings, practice sessions, everything turned into a crash course on ethics and temptation. Coaches started reminding players that trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild. Behind closed doors, the atmosphere was tense, almost paranoid. One front office exec said the whole league went from preseason hype to full-blown panic overnight. Another player agent confessed they were surprised the accused got caught, but not surprised it was happening. That comment hit hard, hinting that betting culture runs deeper in today's NBA than anyone wants to admit. Even the Players Association had to tread carefully. Their official statement was polished but clear. The integrity of the game remains our top priority, they said. But they also reminded everyone that players deserve due process and fair treatment. They were basically saying, fame doesn't make you innocent, but it doesn't make you guilty either. This scandal isn't just shaking teams. It's cracking the very core of what the NBA stands for. And then came the social media explosion. The second whispers of Mafia ties hit X, formerly Twitter, the internet lost its mind.
Let's not, mince words. This is the insider trading saga for the NBA.
Two Dudes Park's viral post summed it up best. He called out the crazy hypocrisy of the NBA promoting betting apps while drowning in its own gambling disaster. Fans were furious, calling for tighter rules, especially on sketchy prop bets targeting individual player stats. Over on Reddit, chaos reigned too. The r/NBA threads were flooded like never before. One top post asked if this whole mess was a system failure, rather than just a few bad apples.
Tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down.
Another in r/Bill Simmons joked about shutting it all down, but you could feel the unease underneath. Fans are scared. They're genuinely wondering if they can even trust the games anymore. Even politicians couldn't resist jumping in. Senator Richard Blumenthal demanded national gambling regulations to stop corruption before it spreads.
People refused to pay. These defendants did what organized crime has always done. They used threats, they used intimidation, and they used...
While House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, a lifelong Knicks fan, said the scandal shocks the conscience. But Representative Paul Tonko went even harder, calling it the inevitable result of an out-of-control betting industry. The message was loud and clear. This isn't just a sports crisis anymore. It's a wake-up call for the whole system. Meanwhile, betting giants like DraftKings and FanDuel are in full-blown panic mode.
4 of the 5 families together in a single indictment is extraordinarily rare. It reflects how deep and how far this investigation reached and the skill and the persistence it took to...
Their PR teams are scrambling, pushing out fancy statements about integrity and transparency. But nobody's buying that act anymore. These companies made billions off the same system that helped spark this chaos in the first place. It's like they lit the fire and now they're running around with a garden hose pretending to save the day. What a joke. So where does this leave the NBA and pro sports as a whole? Let's break it down because the dominoes are already falling fast. First, policy changes are coming at lightning speed. Commissioner Adam Silver, who's been quietly fighting for federal betting regulations for years, finally has the ammo he needs. He's been warning about the dangers of player prop bets forever, and now this scandal might finally push Washington to act. The timing couldn't be more explosive.
The arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery.
Second, enforcement is about to get ruthless. The NBA's already slapped teams with fines for lying about injuries, but this mess exposed some massive holes in their system. The league even cleared one of the main suspects, only for the FBI to swoop in and arrest him 18 months later. Can you imagine that embarrassment? The NBA looked completely blindsided, and now they're in damage control mode trying to prove they still have control over their own game. Third, and maybe most dangerous of all, the trust is broken.
Fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investment.
One viral post summed it up with a gut-punching line. If you can bet on these games, why would you believe the games are real? That hit fans right in the heart. Because once people start doubting the authenticity of what they're watching, the very soul of the sport begins to crack. Sure, the NBA's had scandals before. Remember the 2007 Tim Donaghy referee disaster? But this one's different. It's bigger, dirtier, and way closer to the core of the game.
Defendants used other cheating technologies, such as poker chip tray analyzers, which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down on the
This isn't about one rogue ref or some random gambler. We're talking about active players, retired stars, and even coaching staff being caught in the mix. That's the kind of corruption that shakes an entire generation of fans. So the big question is, how did this monster of a scandal grow right under the league's nose? What made it possible for something this huge to stay hidden for years? According to the FBI, this wasn't some small-time gambling ring whispering insider tips in smoky back rooms. Oh no, this was a machine. A cold, calculated, high-tech operation with Mafia backing that ran for years. From December 2022 to March 2024, and investigators even traced early roots all the way back to 2019. The feds called it Operation Nothing But Bet, and their findings were chilling. The plan was dangerously simple. That's what made it so genius. People with inside access, players' assistants, trainers, even close friends, leaked private info about injuries, lineup changes, or secret benchings. Then, the gamblers placed smart prop bets, taking advantage of info the public didn't have yet. They weren't guessing. They were profiting off pure insider knowledge. The deeper investigators dig, the more it looks like the league wasn't just blindsided. It was infiltrated. They were profiting off secrets, straight up cashing in on information the rest of the world didn't have. And the wildest part? It worked perfectly for years before anyone caught on. These guys weren't guessing. They were hitting every bet like clockwork. They'd place wagers on player stats, knowing exactly who was sitting out or struggling, and then walk away stacked. Think about it. If you already know a superstar is about to be benched or barely touch the court, that's not gambling anymore. That's free money. As FBI Director Patel put it, this was insider trading for sports betting. And it doesn't get more serious than that. The indictment revealed at least 7 NBA games tainted by these inside tips. That's not a fluke. That's a full-blown operation. Beyond the Lakers, Bucks, Hornets, and Pelicans matchups, one game stood out. April 6, 2023, Magic versus Cavaliers. Someone got a tip that key starters for Orlando would be benched, and within hours, an $11,000 bet landed on Cleveland. The Cavs didn't just win, they crushed them, 118-94. The profits? Clean and massive. The FBI dropped names that sent chills through the league. Eric Spook Ernest, Mars Fairley, Vinyl Locks, and Shane Hennon Sugar. And these weren't your average street hustlers. They were organized, methodical, and deeply connected. They funneled inside intel from NBA sources straight into the betting pipelines and laundered their profits through payment apps, crypto transfers, wire payments, and even old-school cash swaps. These guys built a business off corruption, and it ran like a well-oiled machine. But what made their setup truly dangerous was their weapon of choice: prop bets. The fastest growing and most addictive corner of sports gambling. You know the ones. Will player X score over or under 20.5 points? Those quick-fire bets that fans can't stop making. Since betting was legalized, over $100 billion has been dumped into prop bets in the US. And that's just in the first 8 months of 2025. Insane! And here's the twist. Some people warned this would happen. Former Senator Bill Bradley practically predicted the entire mess back in 2024, calling the NBA's cozy partnership with betting companies a ticking time bomb. He said their full embrace of gambling would eventually lead straight to corruption. And now, that prophecy's come true in the ugliest way possible. The NBA's been making huge money from betting sponsors like DraftKings and FanDuel, plastering their logos across every broadcast and halftime show. But now that same partnership is blowing up in their face. Commissioner Adam Silver, though, stood firm, defending the league's position, saying that legalized betting actually makes it easier to spot fraud because you can track suspicious activity. And to be fair, that's exactly how this entire scheme got busted. Those sudden betting spikes on specific games were the red flags that tipped off the sports books and kicked off one of the biggest FBI investigations in sports history. This wasn't just luck. It was a system collapse hiding in plain sight. So yeah, the system caught it, but only after millions in dirty money had already changed hands. And this next part? It sounds like something ripped straight out of a Hollywood crime flick. Because it practically is. The FBI dubbed it Operation Royal Flush, and what they uncovered was pure chaos. A twisted network of rigged underground poker games spread across Manhattan, the Hamptons, Las Vegas, and Miami. 31 defendants tied to this wild scheme, and the deeper they dug, the darker it got. The setup was both genius and evil. These private poker nights were designed to lure in rich victims, celebrities, investors, even retired athletes, who thought they were sitting down for a classy high-stakes game with familiar names like Billups and Jones at the table. Everything looked fancy, polished, and legit, but it was all a show. What these VIP guests didn't realize was chilling. Everyone else at that table was in on the con. The dealers, the opponents, even the cocktail servers, every single one was an actor in a multi-million-dollar scam, and the tech behind it, straight-up sci-fi. Prosecutors said the FBI agents themselves were stunned when they saw how advanced the setup was. First came the rigged shuffling machines, not your regular casino gear. These were modified with hidden scanners that could read every card in the deck while shuffling. Then the data got sent to someone outside the room who could predict the winning hands before the cards even hit the table. Next up were the poker chip trays. But these weren't normal trays. They hid tiny cameras that captured every single move, reading the cards in real time. And the players? Some wore special contact lenses that revealed markings made with invisible ink. Cards literally glowing with secrets only they could see. Imagine sitting across from someone who can see through the deck. That's nightmare-level cheating. And it didn't stop there. The FBI even revealed X-ray poker tables capable of reading cards while they were face down. Prosecutors showed photos during the press conference, and reporters were left gasping. The audience couldn't believe how advanced this scam really was. It was organized crime meets Silicon Valley innovation. Here's how the hustle worked. The off-site operator, the so-called brains, got all the scanned data from those rigged machines, then sent it to a crew member at the table known as the quarterback. That quarterback would give out coded signals, a cough, a scratch, a hand tap, guiding the rest of the crew through every hand. Together, they drained their victims dry, hand after hand. One poor victim reportedly lost $1.8 million in a single game. Total losses? Over $7 million. And prosecutors believe that number's still climbing. But when some of the wealthy players refused to pay up, that's when things got really ugly, because the Mafia stepped in. And we're not talking about small-time thugs either. The Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families were all in the mix. They'd been running underground poker rings in New York for years, so when this new high-tech hustle popped up, they jumped in without hesitation. They helped organize the games, collected their cuts, and handled unpaid debts the old-fashioned way, with threats, beatings, and guns. Prosecutors even said one crew staged a gunpoint robbery just to steal one of those rigged shuffling machines from a rival operator. Out of the 34 people charged, 13 were confirmed to have direct ties to major Mafia families, including Bonanno acting street boss Ernest Aiello, Gambino associate Luis Apicella, and underworld figure Amar Flapper Poker. It's no exaggeration. This operation was part casino, part crime ring, and part tech experiment gone rogue. The FBI called it one of the most sophisticated gambling crimes ever exposed, and the NBA's name being anywhere near it? That's the real shocker. And let's not forget Genevieve's member Matthew Dino, the ex-wrestler turned enforcer. And of course, all that dirty money had to land somewhere. They funneled it through shell companies, crypto wallets, offshore accounts, and literal stacks of cash passed hand to hand like candy at a poker table. This wasn't just gambling gone wrong, it was organized crime in designer suits. A slick blend of Silicon Valley tech and old-school mafia muscle, running side by side like it was business as usual. This operation was so advanced that it took the FBI, Homeland Security, the NYPD, and even the Waterfront Commission a full 4 years to completely crack it open. 4 years of undercover agents posing as high rollers, wiretaps buzzing in the background, and digital breadcrumbs scattered across encrypted wallets, all to bring this monster down. Now everyone's asking the same burning question: how did NBA figures get tangled up with the Mafia? The answer might be simpler than it looks. Just follow the trail. Manhattan, the Hamptons, Miami, Las Vegas, playgrounds for the rich, the reckless, and the famous. These are the same spots where athletes, entertainers, and power brokers mingle without a care. So when someone whispers about a private, exclusive poker night featuring former NBA stars, that's an easy yes for anyone chasing the rush, the money, and the prestige. The disturbing twist? Some of the defendants might not have known the games were rigged, at least not in the beginning. One gambling expert explained it perfectly. Players in underground games always worry about getting cheated. That's why real pros stick to licensed casinos or trusted circles. So yeah, it's possible a few of these NBA names got pulled in as clueless victims before getting seduced or straight up recruited into the scheme themselves. But prosecutors say they're not buying that excuse anymore because they've got receipts. According to the indictment, Billups and Jones weren't victims at all. They were key players in the scam. Both now face federal charges for wire fraud, money laundering, illegal gambling, and criminal conspiracy. And each wire fraud count alone could land them 20 years in prison. The NBA didn't waste a second reacting. Commissioner Adam Silver immediately placed both Billups and Rozier on administrative leave, releasing a sharp statement saying, "The league takes these allegations with the utmost seriousness. The integrity of our game remains our top priority." He confirmed that the NBA has been cooperating with federal investigators since day one. But even with that reassurance, people are starting to whisper, how did the league miss this for so long? Remember, the NBA cleared Eric R. after investigating him back in 2023, and now he's been arrested by the FBI. That's not just embarrassing. That's a full-blown credibility crisis. One anonymous front office exec even admitted, "Fans are going to lose faith in our ability to police ourselves." And honestly, they might be right. Federal prosecutors aren't sugarcoating anything. They warned the public this is just the beginning. According to them, this isn't one isolated scandal. It's two massive interconnected criminal operations. One involved selling insider NBA info for illegal betting, and the other ran rigged poker games tied directly to 4 of New York's most notorious crime families, the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese clans. Yeah, you heard that right. The Mafia, in 2025, connected to NBA insiders. At the New York press conference, FBI Assistant Director Kash Patel laid everything out like a movie script, describing a coordinated takedown across 11 states, targeting suspects charged with wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, and even armed robbery. The FBI didn't just crack a gambling ring. They exposed a national web of corruption that's got the entire sports world reeling. This wasn't some backroom hustle. This was big money crime. Prosecutors say the poker scheme alone robbed victims of at least $7 million, while the betting side may have moved hundreds of millions in dirty wagers through secret channels. And naturally, when a scandal explodes this huge, everyone's first question is the same. Were any superstars involved? The answer? Messy, complicated, and shocking. Because now, some very familiar names have surfaced in the investigation, and one of them hits dangerously close to the face of the NBA itself. This time, LeBron James is being dragged into the storm, not as a suspect, but through someone frighteningly close to him. his longtime friend and former teammate, Damon Jones. Jones, who played alongside LeBron in Cleveland and later shadowed him as an unofficial assistant with the Lakers, allegedly pulled what insiders are calling a massive betrayal of trust. According to federal indictments, Damon Jones crossed a line nobody believed he ever would. He allegedly sold private medical information about LeBron James to gamblers for profit. That's beyond low. That's career-ending stuff. It all started on February 9, 2023, just days after LeBron made history by breaking the NBA's all-time scoring record. There was a Lakers versus Bucks game coming up, and behind the scenes, Jones allegedly sent a secret text to his gambling crew. Player 3, later confirmed to be LeBron, would sit out due to ankle soreness. This info hadn't been made public or even listed on the official injury report yet. That one insider leak changed everything. The gamblers pounced, placing heavy bets on the Bucks before the news broke. And boom, the Bucks won 115-106, cashing in big while the world still thought LeBron was suiting up. From that moment, Jones's little tip became a golden ticket, a pipeline straight from the locker room to the betting tables. But it didn't stop there. In January 2024, Jones allegedly leaked another secret. This time about a Lakers player who'd play limited minutes because of an injury. One gambler used that info to slam down a $100,000 bet on the Lakers to lose. But here's the twist. The Lakers won that night, and the bet tanked. Still, the intent was crystal clear. The plan was to weaponize private player health info for profit. Now here's the part everyone's been waiting for. LeBron James had absolutely no clue. Prosecutors confirmed he's viewed strictly as a victim, not a suspect. He was blindsided, betrayed by someone from his inner circle, someone he considered family. That betrayal has the entire sports world reeling. Because if someone that close to LeBron can't be trusted, who can? So who are the real villains in this saga? At the center of it all, 3 names have become the faces of this NBA scandal: Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones. Each one allegedly played a role in blending the world of pro basketball with underground crime. Starting with Chauncey Billups, prosecutors claim he wasn't just sitting at the poker tables for fun, he was running them. They allege he used his fame and charm to make those rigged underground poker games look legitimate, acting as the celebrity bait that drew wealthy victims in. When billionaires and influencers saw a respected NBA legend sitting across from them, they thought it was the real deal. But what they didn't know? The whole game was stacked from the start. Every card, every shuffle, every hand, all part of a setup that used fame as the ultimate disguise. And now, those same big names who once symbolized integrity and competition are under the harshest spotlight of their lives. The betrayal runs deep, from locker rooms to luxury poker tables, and the fallout is only getting uglier by the day. Prosecutors said those underground poker sessions were straight out of a spy movie, packed with high-tech cheating gear that could make even James Bond blush. We're talking X-ray poker tables reading cards right through the surface, chip trays with hidden cameras, rigged shuffling machines predicting the next winner, and even contact lenses that revealed secret markings invisible to the naked eye. Wild, right? But the chaos didn't stop there. Not even close. One co-conspirator, who later flipped, spilled everything about Chauncey Billups' alleged involvement. According to the FBI, Billups supposedly leaked inside info that the Trailblazers would rest key players and intentionally tank their March 24, 2023 game against the Chicago Bulls. That info leaked before the public knew, and over $100,000 in bets poured in against Portland. Sure enough, the Blazers got destroyed, 124-96. The timing was too perfect to be coincidence. The NBA wasted no time taking action. Billups was immediately placed on leave. Assistant coach Tiago Splitter was bumped to interim head coach while Billups surrendered his passport in Portland's federal court. He walked out on bail under strict no-gambling conditions and now awaits arraignment on November 24th in Brooklyn. Talk about a fall from grace. Then there's Terry "Scary" Rozier, and his case cuts even deeper, right into the heart of competition itself. Prosecutors claim that on March 23, 2023, during a Hornets versus Pelicans matchup, Rozier tipped off his childhood friend Deniro Laster, saying he'd fake an injury and exit early. Laster and his crew allegedly dropped $250,000 in underbets on Rozier's performance, counting on him to underdeliver. And it worked like a charm. Rozier left the court after just 9 minutes, putting up 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists, just enough to cash out tens of thousands in profits. Prosecutors say those winnings were then split between Rozier and his circle. The NBA suspended him instantly. He even had to post his $6 million home as bond after prosecutors demanded $10 million. His lawyer, Jim Trusty, came out swinging, calling the case built on spectacularly unreliable sources and denying that Rozier ever faked an injury. And then there's Damon Jones, the man sitting dead center in both scandals. He's facing dual charges, tied to the insider betting ring and the Mafia-backed poker operation. Beyond the leaked info about LeBron James and Anthony Davis, prosecutors say Jones doubled as one of the face cards for Billups' rigged poker tables, helping lure unsuspecting millionaires into fixed games where they never stood a chance. From leaking locker room secrets to running mob-connected poker sessions, Jones went from trusted teammate to walking headline, dragging one of the biggest names in basketball straight into the storm without LeBron even knowing it. It's betrayal on a level no one saw coming. Meanwhile, analysts, especially those tied to major sportsbooks, are scrambling to do damage control. They're calling this whole fiasco an isolated mess, insisting that most players keep their hands clean. Their argument? That legalized betting actually helps catch corruption. With tracking software, suspicious activity alerts, and regulated oversight, they claim this case proves the system works. But critics aren't buying that polished spin. They're saying the real issue is way deeper, that the NBA's billion-dollar partnerships with betting companies have blurred the line between integrity and temptation. When the same organizations making money off bets are the ones policing them, that's not protection. That's a recipe for disaster. And now the stakes are higher than ever. Every defendant in this tangled web is staring down decades behind bars. Wire fraud and conspiracy alone carry up to 20 years, and money laundering could double that. Prosecutors made it clear this is far from over. The investigation is still growing, and those unnamed co-conspirators in the indictments, they might include more NBA insiders. Sources say the next few months could get explosive as defendants start flipping, trading information for lighter sentences. The FBI has already peeled back the curtain on a multi-year, multi-million-dollar criminal web connecting NBA personnel, mafia families, and high-tech gambling syndicates. And make no mistake, this isn't just about a few greedy players or reckless bets. This is about a league that welcomed gambling money with open arms, maybe without realizing how deep the corruption could run. Now, the NBA faces its toughest test yet: rebuilding trust. Can they clean house, fix the cracks, and still cash in on those massive betting deals without destroying the soul of the game? Only time, and maybe the next round of FBI raids, will tell. If you found this breakdown wild, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this video with your friends, because trust me, this story's just heating up. You do not want to miss what's coming next. See you on the next one.